When they told me we were getting a new alpha, I thought it was a joke. When he walked in, I realized it was worse than a joke. It was an experiment. The conference room on the top floor of City Hall is glass on 3 sides, and politics on the 4th. Morning light pours through the windows like a staged blessing, turning the skyline into a silver EKG. The air smells like ozone and municipal coffee, burnt optimism with hints of bureaucracy. I stand at the head of the table with my slide deck, my team arrayed along the long glass surface. Analysts, runners, 2 medics, a logistics beta who can juggle 6 radios without breathing. My people, our pack. I belong here, not because anyone stamped my wrist with a hierarchy sigil, but because the system works when I'm holding the blueprint. Phase 3 scales the firewall around the tram grid, I say, tapping my pointer. We tested for latency. Median response time dropped by 14. The doors slide open with the soft hiss of a blade leaving a sheath. He fills the doorway like an argument, tall, shoulders squared in a dark uniform without insignia, hair cropped to regulation, a thin scar interrupting the clean line of his jaw. The scent arrives a heartbeat before the man. Dry metal storm edge. The room shifts. Betas sit straighter. My back does not. Keep going, says the deputy mayor, voice pitched too bright. Everyone, this is the council's appointee. You're new. I can read, the man says, eyes cutting to the wall screen. His voice is steady, clean, the kind that turns commands into facts. Your Phase 3 creates a choke point at Substation C. You'll bottleneck. Emergency power. If you get simultaneous alerts on the east and south lines. He doesn't look at me. He looks through my slides as if they're tissue paper. I smile. I can do polite until the paint peels. With respect, I say, Phase 3 is designed to manage triage across layers. Power reroutes through D on a failsafe. We modeled concurrency. At training thresholds, he counters. Not live ones. I tilt my head. Do you usually invade systems this way? Or only the humankind? If the system's unstable, he says, unblinking, yes. There's a small pause where the room decides who to breathe with. I watch his hands, the relaxed stillness of them. Not tense, not sloppy. A soldier who hasn't forgotten he's human, or who's pretending well. Captain Eran, the deputy mayor says. A beat too late. As though she hopes a name will sand the edges. He'll be taking the lead on field operations for your pack contract. Our pack has a lead, mutters Juno, logistics. You're looking at him. I don't shush her. I keep my tone warm. Welcome to the city, Captain. I'm Vince Hale, security architecture. If we're done critiquing my slides, I'd love to show you where your assumption breaks. His glance lands on me for the first time. Gray like wet steel, assessing. It leaves a fingerprint on my heartbeat that I don't appreciate. Show me, he says. So I do. I walk him through redundancy trees and stress tests, speak the language of thresholds and failure modes. He interrupts only when it matters, and when he does, he's right just enough to be infuriating. We trade corrections like fencers trade touches, contained, precise, each refusing to give ground. By the time I reach the final slide, the deputy mayor is nodding the way politicians nod when they don't understand math. Excellent, she declares. Collaborative already. Collaborative. Sure. The meeting dissolves into the scraping of chairs. I collect my drive, my notes, my temper. He doesn't leave. He waits, still as a machine cooling, while my team drifts out in a scatter of murmurs and sideways looks. Juno bumps my shoulder. Kay, our 17-year-old beta and part-time hacker, mouths yikes and then grins at me like a feral cat. I ignore him. When the room is mostly empty, I step past the table. The glass wall throws our reflections back at us. My own narrow face, hair too long for City Hall, dark frames catching light. His, broad, controlled, a stranger wearing authority like a second skin. You didn't introduce yourself, I say, because if he's going to stage an entrance in my meeting, he can at least follow theater etiquette. Eran, he says. No rank, no last name. Either arrogance or caution. You architect? Security, I correct. Architecture is what keeps the roof from collapsing when someone kicks the load-bearing wall. Thank you for kicking. A corner of his mouth thinks about moving. It doesn't. Your firewall will hold longer if you strip the vanity analytics. Vanity analytics, I repeat. Those are the ones that stop hospital elevators from stalling when the grid flutters. Then don't call them vanity. I didn't, I say. You did. For a second, I think he'll step in closer. Try the old dominance routine. Crowd, lean, breathe. Old school alphas, mistake proximity for persuasion. He doesn't. He stands where he is and meets my gaze, unflinching, as if the only game he knows is the honest one. The deputy mayor reappears in the doorway like a stage manager. If you two could coordinate a joint memo by this afternoon. We'll send it, I say, without looking away from him. We'll send it, he echoes. When we leave, the corridor is a white artery. City Hall hums with recycled air and careful money. It's just the two of us for a stretch. The building designed this way, no doubt, to force certain conversations that shouldn't happen on camera. I keep my hands in my pockets. I don't fidget. I don't do tells. Do you want my respect? I ask, voice even. Earn it. I don't tape ribbons to the floor. He stops. I stop because he does. Momentum is a kind of physics even politics obeys. He turns his head, studying me with that soldier's calm. And for the first time, something softer threads his tone. I don't want your respect, he says. I want you alive. It lands heavier than I expect. The hallway vents breathe. Somewhere down the line, a copier coughs paper. Noted, I say. But you'll forgive me if I design for both. His eyes flick to the side, just enough warning for the door to open. An aide with a stack of folders stumbles past, muttering apologies. The movement shifts the air. His scent brushes mine. Dry thunder, the tang right before rain. It's not a push. It's physics. Again, breath meets breath. Something under my skin stirs like a sleeping circuit jolted awake. No, not here. I step back. The aide vanishes. Eran doesn't reach for me. He doesn't do anything at all. That somehow steadies me more than any apology would. Training at 07 tomorrow, he says, as if nothing happened. Field readiness. I do mornings with data, I say. Then bring it, he answers, and leaves me with the windows, the city, and the unpleasant knowledge that my pulse took orders it shouldn't. By noon, we've shared a document, interleaved comments without sniping, reworked 2 sections of the plan. He writes like he talks, spare, exact, no theater. I edit like a criminal defense attorney, meticulous, anticipating worst-case scenarios. Between the lines, we're learning each other's edges. Afternoon bleeds into a pale, overlit evening. The building empties by increments, laughter and heels fading down the marble spine. I'm still at the table, running one more simulation because superstition wears the face of due diligence. When the dashboard pulses, just a flicker, I glance up on instinct. Across the ceiling, sensor strips glow from blue to amber to red in a laddering wave, then snap back to blue. A heartbeat later, my wristband buzzes, anomalous link activity detected. I lift my hand. The band is warm, like breath. The readout scrolls with calm cruelty. Pack marker ping, unplanned pair resonance. Source proximity, corridor E-12. Secondary signature, Eran, classified. I stare at the ceiling where the afterimage of red still burns. The glass wall reflects a man in a dark suit leaning over a table, jaw set, eyes too tired for his age. He looks like he's seen enough experiments to call them what they are. My phone vibrates. A message from K, boss. Sensors hiccuped. You good? Or should I stage a fire drill for plausible deniability? I type, we're fine. Then delete we. Type I'm fine. Send. Down the hall, footsteps approach, steady, unhurried. The storm edge scent arrives a half-second before the man. Eran pauses at the threshold, just far enough that no one can accuse him of crossing a line. Your deputy wants us at 8, he says. New briefing. Of course she does, I answer, closing my laptop with a click that feels like a decision. Tell her we'll be there. He nods once. No dominance games, no posture, Not a smile either. Just that unyielding, infuriating calm. "Vince," he says, like he's testing the weight of my name. "You did good work today." "You ruined my opening," I say. "Your opening was fine," he replies. "I ruined your day." He leaves. The door sighs shut. Silence settles, but the sensors along the ceiling hold a touch more color than they should, as if the building is blushing on our behalf. I exhale and press 2 fingers to my wristband. The metal is cool again. I tell myself it was an electrical fluke, a city hall ghost, a hiccup in the scanner's appetite for drama. But even my lies prefer clean lines. And this one has a scar through it. Tomorrow at 8, the council's soldier and the city's Omega will sit at the same table and pretend the room isn't wired to notice when lightning listens for thunder. I pack my drive, slip my notes into a folder, and tell the night I'm not impressed. The night doesn't believe me. The sensors keep their secret. For now, the training hangar sits 3 levels beneath street noise and sunlight, a cavern of steel and humming lights. The air tastes of metal, sweat, and the sharp tang of disinfectant. Machines drone in the background, and the walls gleam like something built for function, not comfort. At 7 sharp, the Alpha arrives. Eran's voice echoes off concrete physical sync drill. "Mandatory?" I'm halfway through a system report at my workstation, pretending not to hear him. My fingers fly across the keyboard, tapping through sensor logs from yesterday's. Anomaly. The data looks normal. Too normal. Which means it's lying to me. "Vince," he says again, tone firmer. I don't look up. I'm analyzing resonance feedback. "That's physical enough. You'll join the drill." There's a pause, the kind that usually makes betas flinch. I keep typing. "I'll observe." Kay's voice floats from across the room. "Boss, you've got that face again." "What face?" "The one that says someone just made you sniff politics." I shoot him a glare over my shoulder. The 17-year-old grins, perched on a railing like a smug alley cat with a data pad. He's too young to be in this program, too talented to be anywhere else. Eran walks past him, all clipped strides and quiet authority. The fabric of his training gear moves with his body, economical, deliberate, muscle-shifting beneath synthetic black. He looks like a prototype of discipline. "Observation doesn't build control," he says. "I have control," I answer. He glances at me, really looks. And something in that look says he doesn't believe a word of it. "Then prove it." That gets my attention. I close my laptop slowly, so he knows it's not compliance. It's challenge. Fine. But when I outscore your recruits, I expect a written apology. His mouth twitches. "You'll have to earn it." The hangar shifts from noise to focus as the session begins. Betas line up on the mats, partners testing grip, stance, rhythm. It's not combat. It's connection. Breath against breath. Pace matching pulse. Eran's command voice fills the space. "You're not here to fight. You're here to synchronize." Instinct and intellect. One line. He stops in front of me. "You first." Lucky me. We face each other on the mat. My shirt's wrinkled from work, sleeves rolled, top button open. I look like a man who should be in a boardroom, not an arena. He looks like the reason wars end. The first motion is supposed to be simple, pulse matching through touch, establishing resonance rhythm. He steps forward, hand hovering near my wrist. I hesitate. It's not fear, it's refusal. But when his fingers brush my skin, the world hums. Low, electric, familiar. My pulse jumps to meet his. Damn it. The sensors around the mat blink from blue to amber, registering the spike. The air thickens with it. I feel every member of the pack react, their attention drawn unconsciously to the new current between us. "Keep your breathing steady," he says, quiet but certain. I am steady, I bite back. He watches me. "You're resisting observation," I correct. "It's different." The hum in my veins disagrees. It's like static running down my spine, heat building under my skin. The scent of ozone again. Not real ozone, but something my instincts translate that way. He moves in closer, hand still holding my wrist. The energy between us spikes, sharp and dizzying. My breath stutters. My body betrays me with a flush of warmth. And that's when he does it. A sudden shift, a turn, and I'm against the cold metal wall. Not pinned, just placed there, like he's grounding a live wire. "Breathe," he says. Not an order. A request. I glare at him. I don't need your help. I don't need permission. The proximity burns, his scent, his voice, his heartbeat in the inches between us. The hum turns almost painful. Every nerve insists this is something else entirely, something primal and dangerous. I force a breath. Another. Slowly the tremor fades. He doesn't move right away. Neither do I. Then, from across the room, rating this scene 8 out of 10, Kay shouts, "But you guys need more dialogue. Maybe a confession?" Laughter breaks across the hangar. The spell snaps. I shove lightly at Eran's shoulder, pushing him back a step. "Congratulations. You've traumatized the interns." He doesn't rise to the bait. "Your control improved." "Because I nearly passed out," still counts. I brush a hand through my hair, ignoring the way my fingers tremble. My shirt's wrinkled, collar half undone. His gaze flicks to it, then away. Disciplined, maybe. Or merciful. "You planned this," I mutter. He folds his arms. "You think I can plan resonance?" "I think you like tests you know you'll win." That earns a faint smile. "I only win when you stop fighting." "Then don't hold your breath." "Wouldn't dare." The session ends. People drift off, laughing, shaking off the tension. I retreat to my console, pretending I'm fine, pretending the air doesn't still taste like him. Kay jogs up, waving his datapad. "Boss. The network logged your heart rate mid-session. Delete it." "Already did," he says, grinning. "But, you should see this." He hands me the pad. Across the screen scrolls the city network's alert feed. Lines of green text blink red one by one. Unauthorized access detected. Source internal node. Pack sector. My stomach drops. This isn't an external breach. Kay frowns. "You mean?" I whisper it before he can finish. "It's one of us." The hum of the hangar returns, mechanical, endless. Somewhere behind me, Eran's voice barks an order to the recruits, steady, authoritative. But all I can hear is the pulse still echoing in my wrist, and the quiet certainty crawling up my spine. Whatever just woke up in this pack, it started the moment he touched me. City Hall at night is a different animal. Quiet as a lie. Gold light pooled on marble floors. The skyline smeared across the windows like a cardiogram trying to make up its mind. The council summons us after dark, which is either theater or strategy. Probably both. We're lined up in the anteroom outside the deputy mayor's office. Juno trying to look unimpressed. The medics trading low jokes. Kay bouncing his heel because stillness was not installed in his model. Eran stands apart, back straight, hands loose, the still point in a room engineered to spin. I hate that my body has started calibrating to his presence, like some traitor instrument tuning to a pitch it didn't ask for. "Try not to stab anyone," I tell Kay. "I only stab with data," he says, grinning. "It's cleaner." Inner doors open. We file in. 3 counselors sit behind the conference table. The deputy mayor leans against the window, arms folded, face arranged into practiced empathy. No one offers chairs. Power likes an audience on its feet. "Your pack contract obligates you to safeguard critical infrastructure," Counselor Ree says, every syllable crisp. "We've had an intrusion. From your sector." A murmur rolls down our line. I keep my face still. "Define intrusion." "Unauthorized credentials entered the tram grid control," Ree says. "The signature points to a legacy protocol, written by you, Mr. Hale." That gets me. I take one slow breath. Legacy protocol doesn't mean current vulnerability. It means someone studied. It means someone inside had access, Counselor Denholm says, gaze slicing toward our team. "We will need names or results," Eran answers, "before I can." His voice is quiet, but it lands like a stamp. Names make nice headlines. Results keep trains from becoming shrapnel. Ree's mouth thins. Are you implying? I'm stating, he says. The attack vector is internal. Whoever did this is either in this room or using someone in this room. He looks at us, not accusatory, appraising. We need a lock, not a witch hunt. I don't like that he landed in my lane, but I like his conclusion. We'll trace it, I say. We'll neutralize it. And we'll do it without tearing our own contract apart on camera. The deputy mayor nods once. You have 4 hours. If we see another spike, we suspend your operating authority. The room exhales as we're dismissed. 4 hours isn't time, it's a timer. Our command center sits 2 floors below City Hall. Glass on one side, the city's reflection riding shotgun as we work. Monitors stack like a skyline. The hum of servers is the only sound polite enough to speak over the tension. I take my place at the console. Kay slides in beside me, fingers already flying. Pull every commit to the tram grid repository for the last 2 years, I say. Diff against my old templates. I want whoever cribbed my homework. You got it. His eyes light like a pinball machine. Oh ho. Look who's cloned. What am I looking at? A fork off your 3.2 schema. Someone added a decoy checksum. Looks like yours at a glance. Fails open if you push a recovery while the grid's under stress. Meaning if there's a fire, the sprinklers drown the hospital. I swallow something bitter. Show me the path. He pings a glowing thread across the map. It traces through our sector, which is exactly the kind of coincidence used to justify budget cuts and arrests. Behind me, boots thud softly. Talk, Eran says. Someone's wearing my old clothes, I answer without turning. They added a button that looks like help and isn't. Can you shut it? Yes, I say. If we want City Hall to accuse us of tampering with evidence, which they will, he says, and you'll still shut it. I pivot my chair to face him. Do you think everything can be solved with numbers? He doesn't blink. Do you think everything is solved with fists? Sometimes, he says, mouth barely moving, with scent. I stare at him. If you bring that up again, I will disable your sense of smell. A cough behind us breaks the deadlock. Am I interrupting? Says a voice I know too well. Or are we flirting with workplace violations? Mira steps into the spill of monitor light. Tall, composed, hair braided back like a promise. Alpha from the municipal guard. My ex by mutual stubbornness. She nods at me, then at Eran. Eyes catching on him as if they've found a new shape to study. Deputy Mayor looped me in, she says. We've got patrol units ready to babysit your perimeter. We don't need babysitters, I say. You need time, she returns, clean as a knife. I can buy you 30 minutes before a counselor decides to look useful. Her gaze drifts to Eran. A spark passes between them. Recognition of competence, maybe, or 2 predators measuring the room and finding the same exit. I tell myself I don't care that it lands like a grit of sand under the eyelid. Captain, she says. Eran, he corrects. She accepts the boundary with a nod, then turns to me. You look tired. Don't flirt with me when you're about to flirt with him, I say. It's tacky. She huffs a smile. Work. Hale. We work. Juno coordinates with Mira's units to slow council oversight without triggering alarms. Kay digs like a happy mole. I tear down. My old code like a carpenter dismantling his first staircase, embarrassed by past choices, grateful the house held anyway. Eran stays at my shoulder, not micromanaging, not hovering, listening, absorbing, redirecting when my focus narrows too tight. Your checksum fix? He asks after 20 minutes. Ready, I say. But if I push it clean, the decoy will log an error trace right back to us. Then don't push clean. Excuse me? Push messy, he says. Make it look like power fluctuation. If whoever's writing your code is watching, they'll assume City Hall's backup kicked a breaker. I study him. You think like a saboteur. I think like a man who's seen saboteurs win because we followed the manual. He's right. And I hate that he's right. And I like that he's right. Okay. Juno, I need a 7-second brownout on Substation D. Mira, keep your units away from cameras when it happens, or the council will connect dots we don't want connected. Mira is already moving. On it. Kay counts down like a game show host. And 3, 2, 1. We are now a city with opinions about darkness. The lights in the command center don't flicker. We're on a protected line, but the monitors register the dip. In the window glass, the skyline dims, then burns back bright. The thread on K's map quivers, trying to rehook. I slip the patch under it like a surgeon sliding a stitch. Come on, I whisper. Take the bait. The thread darts to the decoy checksum, fails open, then slams into my patch as if it were always part of the skeleton. The alert on the main screen flares red, then falls to green. Unauthorized access, quarantined. Fail open. Neutralized. Grid status, stable. The room exhales as one. Juno. Whoops. K throws his hands up like he's just scored from half court. Mira presses her lips together, hiding a smile that makes her eyes warm. Eran doesn't grin. He nods at the screen like a soldier nodding at a bridge that held. Good work, he says, and for once it feels like exactly the right number of words. For a sliver of a second, the noise inside me quiets. The hum, suspicion, the city's constant, anxious percussion. We did the thing we came to do, and we did it together. Respect isn't a ceremony. It's a result. Don't let the council smell blood, Mira says, breaking the spell. You've got 90 seconds before they ask for a victory speech you can hang yourself with. Copy, I say, already composing the email in my head. Neutral language. No boasts. Just the facts and a log they can wave at cameras. I send it. The deputy mayor replies with a single thank you, which is bureaucrat for you live another day. People peel off to breathe. K drifts to the window, the city staining his reflection neon. Boss, he says softly, you're still pale. I'm fine. You say that when you're not. He's not wrong. The adrenaline is ebbing, and in its wake something colder leaks in. The breach used my code. It learned my preferences. Whoever's inside our house knows how I think. I turn back to my console. The city's database still has a private passage with my name on it, and paranoia is a staircase I climb with muscle memory. I run a check, then another, deep archives, then military records because old ghosts leave the best fingerprints. One name pops where it shouldn't. Not on our grid. In an obituary's mirror. Eran, classified surname redacted. Kia, 5 years ago. For a moment the room recedes, sound thinning to the buzz of electricity behind the walls. The entry is bare. No details, no unit, just a date and a status. Dead is tidy like that. Eran stands a few feet away, conferring with Mira about patrol routes, profile. Turned to the glass, the city laying a crown of light on his shoulders. He looks very alive. K edges closer, reading my face like it's a screen. What did you find? I close the record with a click that feels too loud. A mistake, I say, and my voice doesn't crack, which is its own kind of skill. But the afterimage of that single line stays anyway, like a flash burned into retina. Eran, Kia. 5 years ago. Either the record is lying, or the man I'm learning to trust is. The city keeps its ghosts in climate control. The archive center squats 2 levels below the public reading room, a bunker of chilled air and humming vents. Rows of compact shelving sit like obedient soldiers. The staff badge I borrowed from a sleepy clerk gets me through 2 doors and an attitude detector. I'm not here, officially. Officially, I'm home, hydrating, and practicing healthy boundaries. Terminal K-12 wakes under my palm with a patient blue glow. I key in council access paths I shouldn't know, and military mirror caches no one should still be able to touch. A progress bar crawls like a centipede, requesting declassified abstracts, cross-indexing casualties, matching signatures. When the result resolves, it does so with bureaucratic grace. No drama, just a line that flattens breath. Eran, surname redacted, Kia. Date, 5 years ago. Status, confirmed. No unit listed. No incident. A death. As tidy as a spreadsheet cell. I stare at the word confirmed until the screen fogs with my breath. I run it again through a different mirror. Same answer. Another. The archive is a chorus and every voice says dead. If he's a fraud, he's good. If the record is a lie, it's surgical. The elevator up is a steel throat. I ride it to the underground gallery, a softly lit tunnel lined with old municipal maps and the kind of art that makes donors feel bold. My reflection follows me in the glass, suit jacket carried instead of worn, collar open, eyes that haven't decided if they want to be angry or afraid. Halfway down the gallery, a man steps into my path as if he's been practicing entrances. Slim, elegant, the kind of face that gets more interesting when it smiles. He doesn't smile. Vince Hale, he says, like he's confirming a bet. His scent is light, complicated, expensive cologne over something sweet. I wondered how long it would take you to come down here. I don't reach for a weapon. This is City Hall. We stab each other with words. Do I know you? You know who I was. He tilts his head. Liam. Council Liaison. Public Safety Subcommittee. Once upon a time, something else. The word Omega hangs between us the way old titles do, as context, not confession. His eyes flick past me down the corridor, as if he expects shadows to have ears. You were his, I say, before I can stop the possessive. Eran's. That's one way to file it. He smooths an invisible wrinkle from his sleeve. Exes are terrible archivists. They keep the wrong years. What do you want? To help you make a decision before he makes it for you. He steps closer, not threatening, cultivated. You think he's here to save you. He isn't. He's hiding behind you. I don't hide well, I say. You hide in plain sight, he counters. Smile brief, sincere, gone. You're the respectable cover, Vince. The civic contract. A city loves a team that looks like process. He needed a roof. You have blueprints. Why tell me? I ask. If you want him gone, you could let the council do the dirty work. Because I don't want him dead. His voice thins at the edges, and for the first time the Polish cracks. That already happened. We stand with the museum lights buzzing soft, and the city rumbling above us like a distant train. I hate that my chest recognizes the shape of what lives in his throat. Loss that found manners. What did he do? I ask. 5 years ago. His job, Liam says. Better than they wanted. Worse than they could afford. He shakes his head. They'll come for him. They're already here, if you know where to look. I think of the record on the screen and the man whose voice settled an entire hangar. If he's a ghost, he bleeds like a man. That's how the best ghosts work, Liam says. Don't confuse competence with innocence. Don't confuse the right choice with the easy one. He steps back into the gallery's run of shadows. The neon bleed from the bar level above, sketching color across his cheekbones. And don't wait. For what? For him to choose his own survival over yours. I want to say, I'm not choosable that way. I want to say, I'm not anyone's shelter. Instead, do you still love him? Liam supplies, almost kindly. That's not the question that matters tonight. He smiles for real then, small and tired. You'll do what you always do. You'll fix the system. He leaves me with the map of a city that used to be a forest and the feeling that the roots are still under the concrete. Up on the bar level, neon writes poetry on people's faces, and no one bothers to read it aloud. I order water because I don't drink when my brain is trying to decide what to burn. The bartender slides the glass my way with a look that says he's seen men like me count ice cubes instead of hours. I text Kay home soon. Sleep. He replies with a sticker of a raccoon hugging a firewall. The walk to our HQ is a thread through midnight. Trash trucks snorting, scooters murmuring, a fox of a wind nosing at paper cups. By the time I badge into the command room, the lights have dropped to our version of night, dim, kind, screens on standby like a city dozing with one eye open. He's there. Eran is asleep in my chair, long legs out, arms folded, the posture of a man who meant to rest for a minute and fell into it head first. Without the uniform's stiffness, his face reverts to something younger, less sculpted by orders. The scar at his jaw looks like punctuation instead of threat. For a dangerous stretch, I just stand and watch. I catalog, boots scuffed, knuckles nicked, mouth set even in sleep, like he's negotiating peace with a dream. He doesn't look dead. He looks like the kind of alive that makes paperwork nervous. I shrug off my jacket and, Because there are things you do even when your head is a chorus of sirens. I drape it over him. My scent will wake him if anyone else approaches. That's not science. That's pack. It takes 30 seconds. His lashes lift. You don't sleep, he says, voice low with gravel. I needed proof you were alive, I answer. He blinks, lines of humor creasing at the edge of his eyes. Want me to bite you? For verification? Romantic, I say dryly. But then I'd have to file an incident report. Wouldn't be our first, he murmurs. The smile fades as he reads what I'm not saying. He sits up, my jacket sliding to the floor. Who did you talk to? Archives, I say, choosing the smaller truth. And a ghost with good posture. Liam's name hangs unsaid. Eran watches me like a man checking a door for pressure. If I open it, what rushes in? You shouldn't be in those files, he says. But the reprimand lacks heat. You shouldn't be in my chair, I return. Fair. We let the silence occupy the middle distance. The room hums. The city beyond the glass reflects itself back in small moving fragments. Headlights, a red blink, the slow carousel of a construction crane. He rubs a hand over his face, then looks at the jacket at his feet like it's evidence. Thank you, he says, which feels more dangerous than any confession. For what? For the roof, he says simply. Liam's sentence skates under my skin. He's hiding behind you. Maybe. Or maybe we are both hiding behind the same wall we're pretending to hold up. I'm not your cover story, I say. I know, he answers. You're the reason the story doesn't end in a crater. Working on it. His mouth thinks about smiling. Gives up. I'll get out of your chair. You can have it, I say, surprising both of us. Tonight. He nods, settles back, eyes slipping closed not because he trusts the room, but because his body decided it trusts me. That fact is a weight and a wire at once. I sit on the edge of the console and watch the monitors drift, waiting for the system to blink wrong. It doesn't make me wait long. At first it's subtle, a tremor in the substation feed, a hiccup of red that ticks amber then green. I lean in. The floor shivers. Sound arrives a heartbeat later. Low, hungry, rolling up through concrete like a giant turned over in its sleep. Then the shock hits. Whump. Glass rattling, light breaking into shards across the screens. Somewhere too near, alarms begin to keen. Eran is upright before the echo finishes. Where? I'm already pulling the map. Downtown. Transit hub. The city has stopped pretending to be calm. Out beyond the glass a plume stabs the night, orange blooming into black. Our network goes from lullaby to siren. The first explosion wasn't a warning. It was the start. The city bleeds light and fire. Sirens scream against the dark like metal being torn apart, and for a moment the skyline looks like it's on trial. Burning towers pleading innocence in orange and black. By the time we reach the command vehicle, the air tastes of copper and smoke. The crowd's roar is a living thing. Beta units herd civilians away from the blast zones. Drones hover overhead, red lenses slicing through the haze. The tram grid, the one I built, is a skeleton of sparks. Eran doesn't hesitate. He never does. Juno, lockdown perimeter 5 blocks east. K. Give me every open data node in the substation network. Vince. I know, I snap. I'm on it. We fall into motion, not orders but instinct, like old choreography rediscovered mid-war. The command point. Inside the armored van, the light is cold and sterile. Holographic projections flicker across the dashboard, outlining the subway system, the power grid, the tram lines. Kay's voice bursts over the comm from a safe house miles away. Secondary detonations are on a timer. Whoever did this, they're trying to cascade the substations. One chain and boom, downtown goes dark for weeks. Can you disarm remotely? I ask. Not unless I want to fry every terminal we own. You'll have to do it on site. Sorry, boss. Of course, I mutter. Why would anything be easy tonight? Eran glances at me. The back of his neck glistens with sweat, muscles flexing as he straps on his field harness. We can cut through the metro tunnels. Shortest path to the control hub. You're assuming the tunnels are clear. He looks out at the skyline where another explosion paints the air. They won't be the metro tunnels. The heat follows us underground, pressed between stone and metal. Every echo sounds like a countdown. I can hear my own pulse syncing with the rhythm of his boots. We move through the old access corridors, the ones maintenance forgot, but I never did. Rust flakes off the walls. The smell is electric and burnt. Over comms, Mira's voice cuts through the static. Evacuation underway. North sector clear. East, working on it. Tell me you're close. 200 meters, I reply. And don't call me if the sky falls. Cute, she says, and cuts the line. We reach the final junction. Ahead. Substation D. My substation. The control panel glows red behind a half-collapsed barrier. Cables twist like veins. Eran scans the door. Voltage is unstable. Touch the wrong circuit and you'll cook. I designed the fail-safe, I remind him. I'll manage. I'll go with you. I stop, turning. You planning to muscle the electricity into submission? He gives me that half-smile that's more shadow than warmth. You think everything can be solved with numbers, and you think everything's solved with fists. Sometimes, he steps closer, voice dropping, with scent. I grit my teeth. Say that again, and I'll install a filter in your sinuses. The corner of his mouth twitches. You'd have to get close enough. Try me. For a second, the tension is so sharp it feels almost good. Two storms colliding, the air between us alive. But then the grid hum above changes pitch, low and dangerous. Focus, I hiss. He nods once. Right. The resonance. The control hub is a glass coffin of light and static. Panels flash warnings faster than I can read them. The substation's core is overloading, one spark too many, and the chain reaction spreads through the entire tram grid. We have to sync the fail-safes manually, I say. 2 signatures at once. Eran studies the panel. Dual authentication. 1 alpha, 1 omega. My pulse stumbles. That's not protocol. That's bonded override. It's the only one the council can't spoof, he says. Your design, remember? I curse under my breath. Yeah, well, I didn't plan to use it. He takes 1 step closer. Then we'll improvise. For a heartbeat. Neither of us moves. The red light flickers over his face, turns his eyes into silver mirrors. You sure you can handle it? He asks quietly. I've survived worse alphas. That so? His voice drops to something like a dare. Don't make me regret it. He lifts his wristband, linking to mine. The connection bites like static. Then, it hits. The resonance slams through the system and through us. The sensors scream to life, registering dual synchronization. It's not pain, not exactly. It's electricity turned intimate, breath, pulse, fear, all mirrored back 100-fold. I feel him, the rhythm of his heart syncing with mine, the heat of his. Focus, the instinct to protect colliding with my instinct to control. Our moment we're one closed circuit, the city our body. Every light, every heartbeat, every siren, feeding into the pulse between us. The power grid stabilizes in a brilliant flash. The monitors flare white, then drop to calm green. The hum of the substation's levels. Silence, just the 2 of us breathing in the aftermath. Then Eran's knees buckle. Hey. I catch him before he hits the floor. His weight is heavier than it looks. Heat radiating through the armor. His pulse stutters against my wrist. Eran. Nothing. Just the faint tremor of air leaving his lungs. I lower him gently, pressing a hand to his chest. The smell hits first. Ozone, smoke, blood. My voice comes out quieter than I intend. You promised I'd survive, I whisper. Don't you dare break that. Over comms, Kay's voice explodes. The grid's holding. You did it. Wait, what's your status? Vince? I don't answer. The emergency lights flicker, painting the tunnel in strips of red. The sound of sirens filters down from above. Different pitch this time. Not panic. Containment. Mira's voice breaks through, sharp and steady. We've got you on sensors. Evac team inbound. Negative, I say. He needs med-evac now. I'm on it. I brush the back of my hand against Eran's jaw. His skin is clammy, his breathing shallow, but there. He's alive, barely. Above us, through the cracked ceiling of the tunnel, I can see the faint glow of the city. Half the skyline is still dark, but it's standing. Kay comes through again, voice cracking from adrenaline. Boss, if you're hearing this, the council just pushed a broadcast. They're taking credit for stabilization. Of course they are. My throat feels raw. Also, there's movement from Central Plaza, black transports, council insignia. They're heading your way. I look down at Eran, still unconscious, and feel the cold sweep of inevitability crawl up my spine. He saved the city, and they'll bury him for it. I tighten my grip around his wristband, cutting off the transmission trail. The tunnel hums, the metal cooling around us. Outside, the sirens begin to fade, one by one, like the city's exhaling after a held breath. But on the horizon, through the fractured mouth of the subway exit, I see them, a convoy of black council machines, sleek and silent, rolling toward us under the dying glow of fire. Their headlights slice through the smoke, cold, white, merciless. I pull Eran's arm over my shoulder and whisper against his ear, half threat, half prayer. You promised I'd live, I say. Now it's my turn to keep you that way. The city is quieting above us, not safe, just holding its breath again, waiting to see which promise breaks first. City Hall looks different after a night like that. The marble seems too clean for what burned on the streets. The glass, too. Honest for the lies already drafting themselves in committee inboxes. We're marched past reporters into the central chamber. No cameras here, which means they want a mess they can interpret later. Cold white light owns the room. It takes everyone's color and leaves them monochrome. Counselors in their careful suits. The deputy, mayor with a stack of legalese mercy. Our pack, smoke-stained, exhausted, still standing. Eran, pale but upright, has a medical adhesive at his temple and a heartbeat that writes itself in the flex of his jaw. He doesn't look like a ghost. He looks like a man who dragged a city back from the edge and forgot to ask for thanks. The counselors don't sit. Neither do we. Power prefers confrontation at eye level. Your coordination, Counselor Ree says, tasting the word as if it's unfamiliar, is noted. However, interrupts Counselor Denham, Captain Eran's status has been clarified. He is a deserter. We require his immediate arrest and transfer. There it is. A verdict, eager to be a sentence. Eran starts to step forward, and I step in front of him. I can feel every gaze in the room hit my back. I can feel my pack breathe with me. Juno's steadying exhale, the medic's careful quiet, Kay's coiled teenage defiance. The municipal guards posted along the wall shift, not to block us, to hear. The scent in the room is wrong, adrenaline scraped thin over fear. I let my pulse settle, let the smell of clean paper and cool stone and my own skin ride the air. You can call it chemistry, or you can call it leadership. The effect is the same. Shoulders lower, teeth unclench. The temperature drops back from boil. He's not a deserter, I say, voice calm enough to pass inspection. He's the reason this building still has power, and the reason your tram lines aren't writing their own autopsies. Denham's stare could carve initials. Are you arguing with records, Mr. Hale? I'm arguing with outcomes, I answer. Records rarely carry victims out of smoke. Ree lifts a file like a shield. You are bound by contract to provide names, not speeches. Our contract, I say, binds us to protect infrastructure and lives. Both categories include the man you're pointing at. If you want to call that a speech, fine. Consider it a very efficient one. A quiet cough becomes a voice at my shoulder. Mira steps up, uniform crisp, braid tight, eyes louder than either. The municipal guard credits stabilization to pack operations under Mr. Hale's authority, she says. Captain, she glances at Eran, adjusts. Eran's contribution was essential. If you arrest him, you arrest function. Is that a threat? Denham asks. It's an observation, Mira replies evenly. You know I'm better at those. Kay can't help himself. Also, he, saved the grid. That's a fact. I can put it in big letters if you need. K, I murmur. He swallows it down and edges behind Juno, who hides a smile with a cough. The deputy mayor raises her hands as if to settle invisible strings. Let's not turn this into theater. Counselors, we need to adjudicate status and maintain continuity. The public expects competence, I say, and it's too late to pretend I can stop now. My mouth is already walking the tightrope my brain built at 4 a.m, and we need a structure that produces it, not a genealogy chart. Denham folds his arms. In English, Mr. Hale. In English? I take a breath. The white light makes a metronome of my heartbeat. We propose a protocol revision, template of the pack, a hybrid model where roles are assigned according to expertise, not biology, coordination by function, decision, rights based on domain, not scent, field operations led by qualified operators, not appointed pedigrees, oversight from the city, not the council's nostalgia for bloodlines. The word nostalgia does something to the air. You can insult power, or you can mock it. Only one moves it. Ree's lips thin. You're asking us to dismantle a century of governance with a whiteboard. I'm asking you to stop losing cities because you like your org charts tall, I say. This template works. You saw it last night. Command didn't flow from an alpha's throat, it flowed from the job in front of us. We synchronized not because someone barked, but because the system demanded it. Denham's gaze cuts past me to Eran. And the deserter? Where does he fit in your innovation? Eran is stripped of the alpha designation, I say, before anyone else can write that line. Behind me, I feel him go very still. Effective immediately, he serves as a civilian coordinator under municipal authority, advisory remit in field readiness and resilience planning, no chain of command privileges, full accountability to the deputy mayor's office. Silence discovers a new octave. The counselors don't like it. They don't like that I said the thing they wanted and made it ours. Mira looks at me like I've thrown a knife. That also happened to be a bridge. Kay whispers holy, and Juno elbows him. Ree flicks her attention to the deputy mayor. You cannot be considering this. The deputy mayor looks tired in a way that isn't about sleep. She glances at the bank of frosted glass, as if she can see the city on the other side. The smoke, still smudging rooftops, the people on their balconies watching for news that isn't fear. Then she looks back at us. I am, she says. Denham's voice slices the room. This is beyond your remit. It's exactly within mine, she answers. And now there's steel in her salt. Emergency governance, public safety continuity, and contract scope modification. The template of the pack is adopted on a provisional basis for the duration of recovery operations. We'll formalize at the next session. You will regret this, Ree says. I regret 3 things a day for a living. The deputy mayor signs something on her pad with a pen that could double as a gavel. This won't be one of them. There's movement along the wall. The municipal guards straighten, not to menace, but to agree. You can feel a scent the way you feel a storm lift off your skull. Denham tries one more angle. And the matter of arrest? I turn to face him fully. You want to arrest the man who just prevented a multi-week blackout, while hospitals are still running on wounded legs? File it. Make sure the press release includes your office hours for condolences. Mira fails to hide her satisfaction. Kay actually claps once before remembering he's supposed to be a professional. The deputy mayor rescues the room from itself. Eran's status is amended per Mr. Hale's proposal. Civilian coordinator, no alpha designation. Effective now. It lands. The word now is a lock snapping open. Eran hasn't spoken. He's been a quiet center while I made us a map out of broken pieces. When I look back at him, he's already looking at me. In the cold white light, his eyes are winter, clear, dangerous, honest. Don't thank me, I say softly. I wasn't going to, he replies, and the ghost of a smile touches his mouth. It doesn't make it to his eyes. Regathers the paper shield. This council reserves the right to revisit. Of course you do, I say. That's how councils survive. We're dismissed with no ceremony. Just the aftertaste of a fight postponed. The chamber empties by grudging degrees, leaving scuffs on the marble and decisions in the air like new paint. I turn. My pack turns with me. The municipal guards hold the door but not the aisle. We walk our own exit. Mira falls into step. Voice low. You just rewired a century. I just made sure the lights stay on, I answer. K jogs ahead, walking backwards so he can grin at us. Template of the pack, he announces as if to an imaginary camera. Coming soon to a governance seminar near you. Don't brand it, Juno says. He'll design merch. I already did, K says. We slow as the corridor funnels us toward the atrium. The noise of the city picks up through the glass. Less siren, more traffic, the ordinary courage of people getting on with it. The cold light in this wing doesn't forgive anything, but it stops accusing. Eran touches my sleeve. Not a claim, a request for a second. I stop. The others drift just far enough to make this ours. You didn't have to protect me, he says. His voice is low enough that it doesn't carry to the plaques on the wall. I didn't, I answer. I fixed the system. He studies me. The way you study a structure to see if it will hold a load you're afraid to name. The humor slides away. What remains is bare and unornamented. I can live with that, he says. Good, I tell him, because you're going to have to. Mira clears her throat, professional, pointed. We have an operations brief in 20, she says, but her eyes are softer than her tone. She flicks a glance at Eran. Coordinator. He inclines his head. It isn't a bow, and it isn't defiance. It's a man learning a new shape. We move, past the last security checkpoint, down the stairs into the atrium where the ceiling is a glass confession and the city sky writes itself overhead. No cameras, no microphones, just the faint thrum of electricity and the distant murmur of a city daring to be normal for a minute. For the first time since the sirens began, nothing is shouting. There is no speech left inside the marble, no growl left in the walls. It is quiet. We stand in it together, pack, guard, us, breathing the same low air, letting the silence be a verdict that no council can rewrite. The city looks washed clean, as if the storm had rinsed out its sins and left only the scaffolding of something braver. From the rooftop of headquarters, the skyline stretches wide and sharp, glass catching sunlight instead of smoke. Wind carries the faint scent of rain and burnt wires. It smells like beginning. Eran hands me a mug. Caffeine, architect. I take it. Commander. He snorts. You outrank me now. Only on paper. Paper's the only battlefield that matters after the fire stops. We drink in silence for a while, the kind that doesn't itch anymore. Down below, Mira drills the new recruits in formation, shouting commands, her voice a controlled storm that bends the morning. Kay sits on the ledge with a tablet, pretending to work but clearly filming her for memes. He spots us and waves. Hey, boss. I raise a brow. Kay grins. Since we don't have alphas anymore, does that mean ties are optional? Eran answers before I can. Only for people who don't mind Mira eating them alive. Good to know. Kay calls, immediately stuffing the tie into his pocket. Mira turns, squinting. Kay. He ducks. See? Research confirmed. Eran actually laughs. A sound low, unguarded, still rare enough to make the air pause around it. He's going to test every limit you invent. He already does. We lean against the railing. The horizon glows a clean gold, sunlight reflecting in puddles like broken mirrors piecing themselves back together. For once, the hum of the city feels like breathing, not buzzing. You ever think we'd get here? I ask. Eran shakes his head. No. I didn't think we'd get through. His left hand still wears the faint burn from the resonance link. He flexes it unconsciously, and I see the memory ripple through him. Still hurts? Only when I remember it worked. I smirk. That sounds like humility. I'm shocked. He glances sideways at me, the corner of his mouth curving. You mistake humility for exhaustion. Understandable. You've been demoted recently. He pretends to think. True. I should at least get a better office. Try surviving in this one first. A pause. His eyes shift toward the city again. You're not sleeping. I roll the mug between my palms. I rest. With your laptop open? With my eyes open. I correct. He studies me a moment longer. Then close them. Excuse me? I'll stand watch. he says simply. Like it's the most natural thing in the world. I scoff. You really think I can nap just because you're… Vince. His voice drops into something calm enough to disarm alarms. It's safe. Just for a minute, I stare at him, the man who was a lie on paper and the only truth left standing. The rooftop hums with distance traffic and Mira's drills, and Kay's laughter echoing off steel. The city isn't perfect, but it's alive, and so are we. So I close my eyes. The warmth of the sun finds my face, quiet and kind. I hear him shift beside me, boots scraping against concrete, the sound of a man who finally stopped running. After a while, I speak, half to him, half to the air. You know, I never believed in instincts. No? Instincts are excuses people use when they don't have plans. I take a slow breath, tasting rain and coffee and ozone. But if anyone asked me what a pack really is, he waits. I'd show them this morning. Eran doesn't answer right away. The wind moves between us, gentle, unarmed. Finally, he says, "Then, let's not waste it." When I open my eyes, the city glints back. Bright, rebuilt, ours. Mira's shouting again. Kay's pretending to listen. The rest of the team filters onto the roof, laughing, arguing, alive. No ranks, no titles, just motion and breath and purpose. Template of the pack. The system works. And for the first time in too many years, so do we.